Sir, where Democrats will have to cry uncle if these food stamp benefits run out. In the past, Democrats have argued policy change is not something you should shut down the government over. That should be a different place where it is negotiated. In what world would Democrats decide to come to the table?
Listen, Democrats have already decided to come to the table. That was on day one. We've always been at the table. They have literally, ineffectively shut the doors and shut us out. Donald Trump himself said, don't deal with the Democrats. Don't even talk to them. He went on Fox and Friends and said that specifically. That was his order to Mike Johnson. So I have been here for 7 years now. Every single year, we've passed a bipartisan funding bill when we've passed it, and that is the only way out, right? It has to be bipartisan, and it also has to have guardrails in place because of what this president has shown himself to be and to do in the last 10 months, which is disregard Congress, disregard the law, spend money however he wants to spend it, right? I have an obligation to my constituents and to this country and Constitution not to give a blank check to a president who's willing to spend money however he wants. That's not how the Constitution works. So we are here. Our door is open. We're ready to negotiate. That is the only way out of this. But Donald Trump has to come home from his overseas trip. He has to stop focusing on the plans and the blueprints for his $200 million ballroom. He has to stop buying 100.
So I'm going to stop right there because, again, he's mixing all these things up. The ballroom is not being paid for with taxpayer money. The president, yes, has moved some money so the SNAP program was open for a month. Okay? The president did move some money so military would get paid. But I don't think that's something that anybody should be upset about. And I love the arrogance, or I'm surprised at the arrogance of this guy saying our door is open. Sir, you are in the minority, okay? Elections have consequences. When we were in the minority, we were the ones that had to negotiate. Okay, when you're in the minority, your door is not open for negotiation. You go to the person that's in the majority and you say, I'm willing to negotiate. That's the way it works. Doesn't matter what party you are. If you're in the majority and the House, look, would I have closed the House down for 4 weeks just because I took the vote? No, I wouldn't have done that if I were Speaker of the House, but I'm not Speaker of the House. And I guarantee you they're working behind the scenes on things. But what I would say is Democrats are in the minority. That means they need to go to the door and say, we'd like to talk about this. That's just the way it is, folks. When Democrats get back into the majority, and they will at some point in time, they're going to demand that of us. So you got to understand how things work in order to get things done. And I don't mean that you play games or anything like that. What I mean is that you are in the minority. There are enough votes to keep this government open from day one. From September 30th at 11:59, there were enough votes to keep this government open. But a few Democrats, along with Chuck Schumer, who are terrified of their jobs and getting primaried from their left, care more about their own political future than they do about the constituents that they represent. Because they think, and look, this is what the truth is, folks. They think they are so good at their job. And I'm speaking to all of you. Okay? If Republicans were the ones holding out, I would say the same thing. Y'all think you are so good that nobody else could do what you do. But let me tell you something. The people that are doing what you're doing right now are a dime a dozen. They're a dime a dozen. And what we've got to do is make sure that people get in and do their job every single day. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. Want to remind you folks to get out for early voting between now and the end of the week. Go to your county election website, or you can look at your My Voter page that's on an app on your phone if you're tech savvy that way, and find out where you can go to vote early. You can vote anywhere early, okay? Anywhere early. But on the final day, you need to get in and vote at your polling place. I want to get Brad Raffensperger on to answer that question sometime. He's running for governor now. But if you can make it to where you can vote anywhere for early voting, why can't you vote anywhere? Now, for me, I drive right by my regular polling place on Election Day on my way to work, so it is not any trouble for me. But there are people that live in Gwinnett County and work in Hall County, or live in Hall County and work in White County. They ought to be able to vote anywhere that's convenient, but we're not there yet. I'm not quite sure why we're not there yet, but we'll try to get an answer to that question. I'd love to know what you think about the Title Pond segment that we did, what you think about this bill, or if you don't want to think about it. I completely understand that. I think there's a few hot button issues that you never know if they're going to be the hot button issue or not. And this one could be one of them. I think that Emory is doing a really good thing in taking this on in his final year in the State House. And, because then you can actually not tell the truth, because I think they always tell the truth, but you can take more chances when you're not up for reelection. I get that you cannot be completely selfless when you were running for office if you want to be reelected. I get that. But you should still do what's right, whether it's in the county commission, on the city council, in the state house, in the state senate, in the Congress, or in the Senate. Because there are enough votes to keep this government open. And folks, if you remember nothing else of what I've said, and I'm especially speaking to my Democrat listeners out there, there were votes to keep the government open from September 30th. Every single vote they've taken, there's been enough votes to keep the government open. Because of cloture, which protects the minority, they have to get the cloture vote first before they can go to the final vote. But typically, even if you're going to vote against the final vote, you will allow cloture to happen because you believe in the process, or you should, to be able to keep this government going and do things the right way. But some of your folks in the Democratic Party don't believe that. They believe their caucus is more important than you are. And that's the way they're acting right now.